Check, check, check. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm Changing Winds, and podcast today is going to be about the seeds that we plant. Um, I wanted to talk on this one for a little bit because it's come across. Hang on, I think my mic may be a little loud for you. Hang on, just okay, good. I've come across this in numerous groups, and I wanted to touch base on this uh, with parenting as an atheist. Um, as y'all well know, most of y'all, some of y'all, um, I I grew up in a religious family. My family was deeply religious. I was deeply religious, and like I said before, 2019 is when things started changing for me. Uh, I didn't realize how much. Man, my mic is jumping all over the place, guys. Don't know what's going on. I don't want to turn it down too low, and I don't want to turn it too high. So maybe I'm not busting anybody's eardrums. But so as I look back on it, I there was little seeds planted throughout my life. Uh, you know, from my 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 dad passing away at a young age. Uh, being raised by my grandmother, being raised by other females in my family. Also, they gave me. I'm just over here checking to make sure I don't get any chat uh, that I need to address. Um, there we go. But you know, those little seeds gave way to things that happen to every kid as we grow up. Um, you know, there's things that I do that my grandmother did, things that my mother did, things that my aunts and even uncles and people like that in my life. And it wasn't just people that were blood family. Uh, my family of friends that I grew up with, their moms and dads, uh, watching. I'm taking this headset off because I'm not live with anybody. So, uh, I I can relate to a lot of um what a lot of people ask about parenting as atheists. And growing up with that issue of the uncertainty of life, um, we grew up, we didn't have a lot of food in the house all the time. There was days that I would go to sleep hungry or just ate some crackers. It wasn't because I wanted to or it was had to. We didn't have much to, spare. Um, to this day, my brother still eats mayonnaise sandwiches. I class them up a little bit. Of course, I could do grilled cheese or something, but um, that's the thing, guys. And I'm hoping that I can share um some things that are deep. Um, my oldest daughter graduated what 4 years ago, and I wasn't in her life. Not by choice, but by her her mom and her family. Uh, I I wish I would have been, and I could have very easily been because I frequently shopped where she worked. Um, my kid, my youngest daughter went to school, and they had school functions, and I would respectful after out of her mother's wishes. There we go. Maybe that will help. Her mother's wishes told me not to engage, and I didn't. I actually did go to her graduation. Um, no, I watched it live. Okay, yeah, I watched it live. Sorry, guys, I was getting confused with my oldest son. And I wasn't able to plant those seeds with my daughter. Just making sure I'm not getting chats, and I don't want to miss a question, guys. Sorry. Um, but that was very difficult. It's still very difficult for me to. She used to have Facebook, and she's since deleted that. She took a 23andMe DNA test, and of course, I reached out to her there. Her mother quickly responded to me and deleted um my. She told me not to contact, and she deleted her information. And she was an adult then, and her mother still did that. So, she was adult and could make her own choices. And I wish she would have said, you know, you don't have to contact me. That would have been the mature thing to do, but she had her mom do it. Uh, Later, I found out that from a school acquaintance, some things that my daughter did to her, and I was absolutely appalled. I apologized numerous times to McKenna about it, which was the girl's name. Uh, and I told her, I said, if she would have been underneath my rule, if you would have told me, would have not, that would have not fared well for her, because I don't condone bullying. I don't condone violence. Um, I don't, I don't do that. Um, my kids know the buttons to push, and they know which ones not to. Uh, I'm a very as a young dad, uh, you have to remember that I have two stepkids, and then my youngest boy is my blood. So I was in his life quite a bit, um, from the time he was born until the time he was about, let's see, I think it was, no, he was probably 3 or 4. Um, Me and his mom, we tried. We together 7 years before we had him. And then after we had him, things just snowballed. But my he knows. And we've talked about it because he remembers a lot of stuff. And I've me as a dad, um, I I love my kids and I would do anything for my kids. And but my youngest boy, um, talks to me all the time. He's like, "Dad, I'm so glad that you changed." And I did. You have to understand, I was still a Christian when I had him, and no, I didn't, beat him or anything like that. I just was very. I had a lot of rage, and then my wife came along and had Thomas, which he was he was fairly young when we him and Kate are roughly the same age. I think yeah, Caden is like 4 years younger. No, 5 years younger than my older stepson. Um and uh we almost lost him. And I tell this story because it's relevant to being a dad. Um so this happened off of our watch, and YouTube, you can throw your warnings and stuff like that. I'm just giving you my experience. Um, Thomas was uh, outside, and his dad had gotten off work and was taking a nap. And I don't blame his dad because his dad works really hard. He's got some learning disabilities, but he works his ass off. And But he came in and Thomas, asked him, and he went outside. Normal boy. They live in a massive trailer park. Uh, it's huge. Um, and if y'all know Texas and trailer parks, they're a they're American staple in East Texas anyway. But when so Thomas went outside, and there was a group of kids, and I don't know how many was in this group, or however. Um, and Thomas was out there, and a boy put some gasoline and paint thinner and to a cup and lit it on fire with a wick. And Thomas went to throw it to put it out, and it hit a fence and it flash fired on him. So needless to say, Thomas, you know, it was bad. And you know, we spent weeks, and I didn't say much. I was there strictly for support. Um And with my life being full of tragedy, a lot of people tell you get older, uh, as you get older, a lot of people say you get calloused over when things happen. You don't get calloused over, um, you get a, you get wiser and you know when to panic and know when not to. And I sat back and I watched and observed, and during the whole treatment and so we were lucky we got into we didn't have the funds to stay there 24/7. Uh so we got hooked up with Ronald McDonald House. And guys, I'm not sponsored by McDonald's or anything. But that was they saved us. The first night we were there, my step parents got us a room, but then we needed to figure out what we were going to do. Guys, my mic is still high. Man, I don't know what's going on. I think I hit the mic button up. Um, but watching and the kids at the parents, and because children's they normally deal with Children's Medical Center in Dallas. They would do things at Parkland, which that's where Thomas was. Number one, by the way, in my books and by a lot of other people for their burn center, Parkland is just awesome. Uh, but while staying at the Ronald McDonald House, there was parents and kids with disabilities, and uh, that was amazing. And I've often those kids, they have cancer and rare diseases, and those kids are just they're they're awesome. Uh, I don't know if I was a kid and had to go through the things those kids went through. I don't know how I would react. Um, Needless to say, I had adults with disabilities. Um, I've said this before. My brother, my mom. I think everybody in my family has some sort of disability. I can say that now because they're all gone except for a couple, like me, my brother, and my cousins. But and that's the thing is, if I would have gone through what those kids, but that's the thing is, I if I talked to those kids today, they'd be like, I don't know if I could deal with what you went through, and that's a fair assumption too. And so doing that, you know, you have it's just one of those things. And so that Thomas going through what he did, planted a seed in me. I got a lot more calmer about being a parent. Um, and I do contribute that to me getting to be softer. And, kind of ways stuff has gotten a little bit more firm with the kids. Um, because she don't want the kids to go through what Thomas did. And you know, parenting is that juggle. Parents struggle on how to give the best guidance and the best anything. Um, and so Thomas planted that seed in me. Uh, Stacy will tell you, Daddy used to build, and I was. She'll use other language, but you know, I kind of, uh, I've kind to come to understand that. Hang on, guys. I want to make sure I'm not blowing people's eardrums out because this is really making me upset. Uh, Give me 1 second, guys. Let's see if I'm blowing your ears out. No, I'm not. Okay, good. Okay. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't blowing y'all's ears out. But you know, and Stacy kind of made me really a softie because she's the baby and I've spent a lot of time with her. Um, just a lot of things that I see that I've planted a seed. I planted a seed in all my kids. But we have to be able to say, okay, and answering the question that a lot of atheists that are, raising kids and they've deconstructed with their kids. Some of their kids are grown and the parents are they deconstructed after the kids went out and the kids are, you need to go back to church. And guys, let me tell you something. You're not going to change anybody's mind. They have to do it. I Thomas never saw me religious. Caden never saw me religious. Okay. And they didn't know I was a Christian when I was raising them. They just thought, uh, let me rephrase that. I don't think Thomas really cared. Um, Caden knew that I was a Christian when he was a baby. Um, but I was starting to deconstruct way before he came along. Um, when he came on, or before he came along, we lived up in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Well, excuse me, Van Buren, Arkansas. And we went to the library daily. And I was checking out books on Gnostics and Sylvia Brown and all these gurus and all kind of religions. And I was trying to find where I fit. Okay. Like I said, I'd been deconstruction since I was 18, 19 years old. I just didn't know it. Um, and that being said, uh, Caden knew that I was a somewhat of a mainstream religious something. And he used to go to church as a kiddo with his grandma and grandpa, which it is what it is. I had to have time by myself, and on Wednesday nights and Sundays, I knew I could have me time because, well, me and his mom's relationship just was just it just fell apart for my fault and other things that happened. Um, and then Stacy, she got me when I was just starting to deconvert and I was just starting to learn who I was. As far as I was angry, I was upset at the world, um, and people, and we go through that. And if you're going through that, guys, you can reach out to me. If you're a parent and you need to talk to somebody, come talk to me. I'm willing to hear. I'm willing to hear what your kids got to say. Let them talk to me. I'll talk to anybody about it because we all have to figure out where that line is. And anyway, I'm just hoping that's not coming through. But as um as a parent, um, I've kind of, as I put it, um, I've had to plant the seed, pull the plant. Like this year, I've had to. My corn and sunflowers got beat up early in spring, so I had to rip them up, and then my cats outside messed up the flower bed, so I've had to replant them 3 times. I'm kind of at that point where I've planted 3 times, and now they need to survive. Um, but I want to talk on giving your kids the right tools. Uh, you can give your kids everything in the world, everything they need, everything that you think they need. You give it to them, and they still make the wrong choices, and that's not on you. That's not on you. Uh, you can give kids all the wrong tools, and they'll come out the best that you've ever seen in your life. You can only give what you can give. And I put it this way, my mom was a kid in her mind. She was an adult, but she was a kid in her mind because of her level of understanding. Dad being not there. Um, I had my uncles on his side. Now, granted, my uncles on my dad's side, my uncle Billy and my uncle Johnny, the two that they were awesome. Um, my I've explained this. Hang on, guys. I want to make sure something because something don't seem right on my setup, and y'all may hear me echo because turn the volume down so I won't echo. Okay, good. Good. I'm not echoing it. Sorry. Um, joys of being live streams. Um, m- my so I'll do this seed planting. Uh, my uncle Johnny, from the time I was, well, all I can remember. Um, I've brought it up before that my dad's side of the family were moonshiners, and they did all that kind of stuff. But my uncle Johnny during the summer would come and pick me up, and I'd go spend a couple weeks with my aunt Erlene, and she had a bar, and it was great fun. It was great fun. Even though it was, it was a bar, and she had the one arm bandits on the show, and I'd come in. My uncle Johnny would bring me, because it was a restaurant during the day. Come here, Tootsie, Toots, Tootsie, come here. Y'all want to see Toots? Hang on, let me get her. Tootsie, come here. Hang on, guys. I'll give. Say hi, Toots. Say hi, Toots. This is Tootsie, guys. She's our newest little family member. What you doing, huh? um, Earthquake in Texas. All that just for that. That's fun stuff right there. Uh, only get what that on the live. Nowhere else. Um, Thinking Mike. Um, but I spent time with her. Then I spent most of my summers with my uncle Johnny. Um, that's the one that gave me all my Native American things that I do. Um, yeah, that's just. But he planted the seeds that I needed to take care of Mother Earth, and do what I could to, um, needless to say, take care of what we got. um, and but he gave me more things than I could ever imagine. Uh, my mom planted a seed in me that uh, and a lot of people ask, was my mom mean to me or violent or to us kids? No, my mom wasn't that kind of mom. Uh, and with schizophrenia, I'm sorry guys, I'm looking around at projects and I should be focusing on y'all. Um, she wasn't. My mom. I think a lot of my artistic abilities come from her, because that woman, she could. I mean, she'd take a crayon, just do all kind of stuff with it. Be gorgeous. I mean, just awesome. Um, but having a fourth grade reading level and then the rheumatic fever, it messed with her brain. I mean, she got up to 116 degrees was her internal uh temperature. And for guys, like, if you don't know, your brain starts boiling. Things start happening at that temperature. Uh there again, I'm not a doctor. So YouTube and your algorithm, I'm not monetized anyway, so why do I care? Um but I I had to grow up a little bit faster with that. Uh on top of that, my brother having almost the same identical situation, just at a higher level of it. And I think sometimes he plays it. And there's other times I'm like, we just told you this yesterday. um, and granted, you know, I am his caretaker now. My, it's rubbing on my chair and it's getting my nerve. Uh, there's all the different levels of disability. Um, so with my mom and my uncles, and then me being raised by my grandmother, which I've told y'all this before, um, born in 1919, she had ways about her that, were wrong thinking, but it's what they had. And her seed was a loud seed. It was a seed that you just knew it was going to grow a giant pumpkin. Other family members, they planted little seeds that still grew out to be far, far, so much beautiful. I loved my grandma. I still love her to this day, but there's some things she did just irks me to this day, it didn't bother me until after I become an atheist. It didn't bother me, and but after it does, and that's what really, really is so, because there's so much that I praise her for, but there's so much that I just my man, my mic is bad. I need to reset that after this live stream. But guys, and like I said, it's just one of those things that uh and then like my 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 uncle on my mom's side, uh, you know, he just like so I'm just gonna say it. He was a habitual gambler, and if any of y'all know about the drug Abilify and YouTube and you whatever is searching my videos, don't give me a demerit. Um, I my brother was on Abilify for years, but I think he'd still have the habit even. But he's a habitual gambler too. Like I can give him $200 and he'll go blow it on just lottery tickets. And I'm not out there and he has won things. Uh, he's won like $500 and stuff like that, which is but there's that side of it. But you don't understand so we lived and we still do. We live in between Dallas and Shreveport, Louisiana. And about the first of the month, my uncle would come through and oh, there's uh, a loan shark after me. And my grandma would give him all the money for the bills, and he'd go and blow it. And I saw the ramifications of that. And me and my brother will go head to head about it. And yet, I get it. I do. It's just like anybody else's pleasure sensors. I'm not gonna, but you know that in its own right um was part of the issues of me having to just let things happen. Hang on, guys. Something's up with my stream, and I don't know what's going on. Huh. I'll have to fix it when I get done streaming. Uh, okay. That have to be done later. Um, but you know, that's just what happened. And he planted a seed in me not to gamble any uh and the pawn shop things. I know some people they buy big nice things and they have to go pawn them because they can't pay their bill. And I we've been through that. Uh, but I have nice things now, and they're paid for, and I don't want them. Uh, I, I, I to me, going and pawning them is uh, like buying something 3 or 4 times because you go and you pawn like you buy 3 or 4 nice things for say $1,000, and then you take those 3 and 4 things that you spent for $1,000, and you take them to a pawn shop. They're only going to give you $500, but they're going to charge you probably $1,000 after all all the other stuff to pull it out to get it back. So you're paying for it 4 or 5 times. There's no logic in that. Uh, and yes, we buy things that we can't afford and we want now. And that's the way we are. I don't think it. I think it just what we do. But I've had to learn. It's it's just ridiculous. But that's my spill on that. So I that seed was planted. not to not to spend what you don't have. Uh, I got a I'm in a group and I really, 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 really want the new Slate truck. And I went in the group and this guy says, a couple guys, if you're asking how much the payments are, you can't afford it. It's only a $25,000 car. It's not a Bentley. I understand it's not a Bentley, but you're sitting here telling me that it's not okay for me to ask what the monthly payment would be for one. Um, where he could went and bought, obviously if he's not concerned about cash, uh and I didn't make a rude comment like this on a group, but I wanted to, but I was nice about it. Uh but well, if you're not so worried about the payment, why don't you go buy a Tesla? Because it's basically the same thing, but way cheaper and way more way less complicated, and probably a lot more funner to drive than a Tesla truck. Because I like vehicles that uh are practical and economical, and that's just the way I am. I like simple. Um, I like techy but easy to use. I love my studio now. I love the setup that I have, and yes, it's a little dorky because it's a studio. I mean, I have a lot of stuff packed in this corner. If y'all saw it, but you do all that? Yeah, do everything in here. But planting the seeds and seeing where they grow, and Stacy will graduate in 4 years. Caden is in two. You have to just, and I've done this my whole life. I sit there and I've watched. I sit, listen, and let just watch. And it doesn't mean I don't get aggravated at them, because I do. I'm like, I taught you, and Stace is the world's worst. she she don't care about time. It doesn't matter. You know, people should wait for her. You know, granted, that's probably a little bit on me, but planting a seed and watching it grow. And I speak this to you as a friend. You can only parent so long. You can only give them with what they need, and it's up to them how they use that. Um, is there going to be times, and I'm sure there will be, with my grandkids and hopefully my great grands? I hope to see at least two generations of my family. Uh, but you can, and it goes both ways. It really does, because you can only parent so long, and parenting, uh, my technology is getting on my nerves. Um, you can only parent so long until you have to say, I don't know what the right way for what the, I mean, because I'm gonna go there on this one. Uh, Thomas didn't realize I was still a Christian when he came around. Uh, and Steph doesn't do the whole religion thing. Uh, and I kind of thought her sisters were, but we come to find out they're not. Uh, but I really don't talk to them on that level. I'm just, I was, I was engaged with Caden's or Caden's aunts, and uh, I kind of learned to stay out of family matters, because as I said before, all mine's gone, and I choose, and I've started opening up more on Steph's family just because I want to know more. Um, but Thomas has started going to the cowboy churches here in Texas are a big thing. Uh, there's some things that I've looked on his Facebook page and concern me about the cowboy churches, and the things that he has said about his girlfriend's family. I'm just going to leave it at that. That do kind of worry me. Um, but I'm not going to sit there and pull him back because of his life experience. I understand. I do. I understand. Uh, Now, Caden asked me the religious question a few months ago, and he brought it up. He brought it up in a weird way. He's like, "Dad, you're not a Christian, are you?" And I'm like, "No, I'm atheist." And he says, "That's what I thought." He's like, "Didn't you used to be a Christian?" Like, "Yeah, when you were a baby, you never went to church with me." I was like, "I know." I was like, "I was deconstructing during that time, baby boy." He's like, "Oh." He's like, "Well, why did I go to church with grandma and grandpa?" I told him, I was like, "Well, for one, they thought that, they didn't raise their kids up in church, and grand grandma got religious. Grandpapa wasn't very religious, but his mom was. They were. They. I don't know how what they. I don't. I just know his great grandma was religious, uh, but his grandpa was not until later on in life, and I think that was just necessity, and he had to do some life working out things. Um, but he's like, I thought so, and I think he's trying to kind of navigate on that situation. Now, Stacy, on the other hand, she comes home and she's like, "These kids and this God thing is driving me batty dad, and I don't know how much more I can take of it." And she'll pop stuff off all day long about it. I mean, she literally, it infuriates her. It's how I would have been if I would have grown up. Uh, I'm scared that though it might bite me in the butt because she may turn out to be very, very religious. Um, I don't think she will. Um, and guys, if you're a Christian or whatever you want to believe, guys, I believe it's some crap stuff that I don't know if it's true or not. Uh, I try to go without everything being open minded. Uh, there's been some stuff, and guys, look, this is the whole point. If you're atheist or you're Christian or whatever you are, uh, parenting is difficult, and having to navigate that part, only you can figure out what the best route is. Um, you can only give your kids what you can give them, and when that happens, you can either, I mean, there's tragic stories, guys, and they're absolutely horrid. And you think of it as being just like, I watch a lot of old FBI shows, and a lot of things that happened back then is just crazy. Also, I wanna say this, and I don't know how well this will pan out on things. But guys, if you're my age and y'all remember the early, late 80s, early 90s TV shows, um, like we like, I like watching old school, old school Tim Allen. Here recently, it's kind of Last Man Standing and stuff is kind of, I don't know how to describe that show. Um, it seemed like it was like they wanted to portray it as, but if you watch the old Home Improvement that was on ABC, there was stuff they were talking about that really mattered. I mean, really mattered. Talking about, I was talking about, uh, stuff that I didn't pick up on until now. I'm older, and I'm like, and I'll look at stuff. I'm like, did he just really say that? And there's some old shows that, and me being into the atheist community now, uh, a lot of people my age and older, um, I'm gonna plug some YouTube channels here. There's Fireside Chat, which is Helen Hell's Bells channel. Uh, she's she's awesome. I went on her show. Uh, then who was the other? Uh, Ask a Therapist, which is Kelly. She describes herself as queer, and that that slur for the longest time you didn't hear it. Uh, and people my age, which in our 40s now, um, and my stay, we went to Stacy's uh choir thing, and I ran into people that were my age, and I say, I told you, I went to school with your peers, your kids are the people that I grew up with, and I've told them, all you gotta do is tell me, and I can get on. I'll get online and tell their parents on their kids. Don't think I won't. If you get a name, I'll figure out who their mom and dad is. Um, but we were open with things. Uh, we used to. I don't know if this is gonna get me in trouble or whatever, but I really could care less. We used to go around school and slap each other's butts all the time, us guys. And it wasn't, I mean, it was not frowned upon. Uh, we would walk around school and, I mean, we did some, slap each other's butts and call each other, call each other names that y'all would, I mean, kids these days would not fare too well on it. Uh, okay. Uh, so we also uh thank Mr. Greg Abbott and some other um players. Uh, we used to have drag shows. Uh, Football games on Friday, or our pep rallies. We would have the football players would dress up in girls' clothes. We would all wear girls' clothes during on Fridays. Uh, we just did that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna put some stuff out there, and I've been rolling this for an hour and something. But anyway, my rambling, and this part of me planting the seed with my kids. Um, I mean, when we were eighth graders, the principal of the high school came and told us, "We've heard that you're the rudest class and blah blah blah, and if y'all mess up one time, none of y'all are gonna walk across the stage." And we got we got accused for a lot of stuff. Uh, was my class? We had 350 people in our class, and that was a big. We that was the first class that was over X amount of ever. And our now that it's huge, now the classes are huge in the school. Um, and the principal was like, "If you do this and if you do that," I'm like, we're all like, "What did we do?" Like we were just open and we did things that whatever. And see, that's another thing, guys. I think we've lost a lot of that. We don't give a crap. Say what you gotta say, or do what, as long as you're not gonna hurt someone. If you- and and going by and hurting people's feelings on purpose, you know the people that can take it, and you know the people that can't. And that's where we stood. We stood there, and if somebody could not take it, we did not give it to them. Look, guys, I I was a preppy skateboarder, okay? And I had friends with the preps, I had friends with the skateboarders, and I had my friends that played Dungeons and Dragons. I have my computer people that I was friends with that I've just recently started enjoying being around them too now. Uh, so granted, and we've lost a lot of that, and I want to see that come back. Kids expressing themselves, being able. That's the thing right now that's devastating people. And the what I don't understand is the same people that I was at school with that could we could do some of the craziest stuff. And at my school, okay, my youth pastor would come and eat lunch with us. Okay. And I did the see you at the pole thing. I would go and pray around the flagpole and do the true love way stuff and blah blah blah. I was a Christian when it came to that. And my letterman I had red, white, blue crosses and fish, Christian fish on my guys, I quite honestly do I feel any kind of what I kind of look at myself and I was like, really, I wasn't all that diehard of a Christian because I could, I mean, like I said, I had friends in every match and color, and um, there's one girl, she was Pentecostal. I can't remember her name. Been trying to find her on Facebook, but I can't remember her name. I want to say it started with an S, but uh, anyway, I can't. But I had her in my math models class, and I was the only secular kid, well, secular Christian out of her that she would talk to, and I would talk to her about certain things. And I'm like, we got along great, and I never, I never, I mean, I wouldn't say some stupid, crazy stuff to her, and she'd be like, "Why do you think that way?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I mean, I would come up with some stupid stuff. um, she was at that point. I was still a flat earther, and I would say, I don't really think the Earth is flat. She's like, yeah, oh yes, it is because, and I'm like, I don't really think it is. And she would, I mean, and I was one. I was sitting there griping back and forth. No, I don't. I don't. And I don't think you understand what I'm telling you. I'm like, I don't think it's flat, man. I don't think it's flat. You can yell at me, and we were like, but I finally came out of that. Um, but we had honest conversation, and that's kind of what I missed a lot. Is my health really started going down, and I look at it, and I'm like, you know what? I just don't give a. I'm not gonna say it. I want to, but I want to be nice. Um, I don't, and it's kind of nice, guys. Yeah, I rambled on for an hour and 12 minutes. Thought this was gonna be a short one. Uh, but it wasn't. So, guys, thank you for watching. Uh, I know there's nobody in the chat today. That's fine. Talking off into the cosmos with nobody to yell at. But, guys, take care of yourself. Take care of the ones you love. And changing winds turns the mic off. Y'all have a good day, guys.